What is up, everybody? What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to episode number 73 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast about two brothers who used to work at WWE, this little company. I don't know if you ever heard of it before. And as a result, crazy proposition here to you guys. We like wrestling. We like to talk about it. But
I'd say we like wrestling.
Yeah. Well, we also like to talk about video games too, video games, because we both like wrestling, and I did this thing at WWE once for a little while where we mixed the two, and it worked out pretty good, and it's still working out pretty good for them. So we like to talk about wrestling and video games here on this podcast. So welcome to the show. This is our first show of 2019. We are back from a holiday hiatus. How was your holidays? How was your break?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I still had to do a lot of work while all my coworkers took off, but
yeah, my holidays were I got to work from home yesterday, and I got to work from home for most of Christmas week, and my only days off were really Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day. But it was good times.
Yeah, you see, I got Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
Oh, you're trying to show off now, huh? Mr. Worky Work?
I wish it wasn't that case. Do you want to drive to and from Brooklyn every day?
No, thank you. No, thanks. That is too long of a commute.
I agree.
Anyway, this episode is our Wrestle Kingdom 13 review show. We're going to be discussing Wrestle Kingdom 13 and reviewing it. Now, I've seen just about everything. You've only seen bits and clips, so you're not going to have as much input as maybe I would. But we're also going to be talking about All Elite Wrestling, which has now officially become a thing. We're going to talk about the upcoming rally on Tuesday. We're going to break down and give you guys all the details on AEW, what it is, who's involved, who's rumored, all that stuff. Give you guys the good info, that good information. And we'll also be talking about a couple other things in wrestling before switching over to a few gaming controversies that have come up in the world of video games, and a couple of quick news, because as you know, now that the holidays are over and the big fall buying season is over, it's kind of in that little lull before we hit like maybe February, March, where there's not much gaming stuff going on right now.
Yeah, but it's gonna start getting real heavy wrestling wise because we're on the road to the Royal Rumble.
Yes, we are. We'll touch on a couple of things from WWE as well on the road to Royal Rumble and whatnot, but that won't be our major focus. Our major focus is going to be Wrestle Kingdom 13. And before we get into that review, I just want to say one thing. It is the first bit of news that we're actually going to talk about today. And I just want to mention that this episode of the Super Grapple Bros podcast is dedicated to the memory of Mean Gene Okerlund, who unfortunately passed away this week.
Yeah.
Reading the official story from WWE, he passed away at the age of 76. He, as you may know, was a longtime backstage interviewer, ringside announcer, commentator
He even did the what's it called? The national anthem for, I think it was WrestleMania 2.
Mm-hmm. And he, he's been a part of several infamous promos, especially from WWE in its heyday with Hulk Hogan. He was the one who interviewed Macho Man Randy Savage during his infamous Cream of the Crop promo.
Cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, Mean Gene always had just this infectious kind of personality, and even when he also had a bit of a reputation sometimes of just being, in his later years and maybe his WCW years, of being kind of almost like a grumpish kind of character, and he didn't do it to be like a jerk. He did it because he knew it was funny.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious. When we really got into wrestling wasn't until the Attitude Era, and Gene wasn't around in WWE, but he was still around in WCW. And even then, I remember Mean Gene from those times with WWE as well. And I even remember watching WCW and just falling in love with Mean Gene and enjoying what he did. He is one of the few people where you looked at him and you're like, I really want to be a wrestler one day when you're a kid, but you're like, if I could also just be Mean Gene and just be in that room and be the guy who interviews them all and deals with their personalities, or is even on commentary talking about them, then I'd be just as happy. That would be amazing as well.
Yes.
And Mean Gene has been the inspiration for many of the commentators who have come up and on-camera personalities in WWE. And I know that everybody in WWE and in wrestling as a whole, including us, are hurting this week with the passing of Mean Gene Okerlund.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, we wish our hearts, our minds, and our sympathies are with Mean Gene's family, and hopefully we'll get some good tributes this week in WWE.
Yes.
And I do recall that Mean Gene is I believe he is a WWE Hall of Famer, if I recall correctly. So
yeah, he's a WWE.
Yeah,
Hall of Famer.
so there won't be a Hall of Fame induction this year because he's already inducted, but he'll be missed.
Yep.
And on that news of Mean Gene, a little bit of a controversial call by WWE, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get it. Hulk Hogan is going to make his main return to WWE on Monday, and it's going to be as part of the tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund because Hogan had such a long-standing professional relationship with Mean Gene. I mean, the saying, well, you know something, Mean Gene, or I gotta tell you something, Mean Gene, those were Hogan. Hogan and to an extent Savage would say that all the time to Mean Gene during their interviews. So WWE has decided to take Hogan, who had recently returned at Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a show. It's kind of fading from my memory.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I wouldn't know.
My ears might be bleeding a little bit. I think my brain hurts just from bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
But Hogan will be showing up on WWE Raw on Monday to honor Mean Gene. I don't know if there are any other details on who else will be there. But this will be Hogan's first appearance since Raw of 2015 because of the whole racism issue and controversy, as we all know about. And yeah, it doesn't look like there's any other announcements for who will be there.
There will probably be others that show up.
I'm sure there'll be others. Dig Stupid is in the chat saying, woo, by God Murpho. He says that it should have been Ric Flair who's going to be there, but Ric Flair probably will be there. Ric Flair is almost always hanging around backstage WWE these days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good chance that he'll be there as well. So, yeah.
Yep.
Mean Gene and stuff.
Yep.
Moving on.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into now the main point of this week's show.
The Kingdom of Wrestling.
The Kingdom of Wrestling.
The 13th.
Are you naming it like a kingdom or a king?
Both.
I don't know if that works, but we're gonna roll with it.
Could be a kingdom named after a king, or a king named after a kingdom. Could be either or.
I thought my brain couldn't hurt anymore from bringing up Crown Jewel. Anyway, Wrestle Kingdom 13 happened on early in the morning for us Friday. For those of you who are aware, I woke up after 3 hours of sleep and watched the majority of the show live and reacted to it on Twitch. The video is also up on YouTube if you want to check it out. We're going to talk about all of the matches and review it. So we should get into that, right?
Yes.
Show opened up with the pre-show six-man, pre-show trios gauntlet, because that's a much easier way of saying it. Number one contendership for the Never Openweight six-man tag team titles, which honestly I think they should just call it the Never Openweight Trios titles.
Yeah, but whatever.
Or New Japan and their titles, like, they're so long sometimes.
Yep.
And this had a lot of teams in it, which included Suzuki-gun, Bullet Club, The Elite. I believe there was a team repping Chaos in there. Let me actually bring up the full list. I can actually bring up the full list of all the teams involved, which was Togi Makabe, Toru Yano, and Ryusuke Taguchi versus Yuji Nagata, Jeff Cobb, and David Finlay versus Hiroki Goto, Beretta, and Chucky T versus Minoru Suzuki, Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith versus Hangman Page, Yujiro Takahashi, and Marty Scurll. And the winners of that match was Togi Makabe, Toru Yano, and Ryusuke Taguchi. Taguchi hilariously came out dressed like a rugby performer because the World Cup of Rugby is happening in Tokyo this year.
Yep.
That got a kick out of me. Another highlight about this match was that David Finlay eliminated 2 of the teams, which goes to show that it looks like they're trying to be high on Finlay and build up David Finlay for good things in the future.
He kind of got killed at New Year's Dash, but okay.
Yes, and due to miscommunication between Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, and Yujiro, they were the first team eliminated on a roll-up by Dave Finlay.
Yeah. Which
then led to Yujiro, as you said, leaving the Elite and joining the Bullet Club the next night on New Year's Bash.
Along with Chase Owens. Yes.
This match I enjoyed. It was good. It was a thing. It got a lot of faces on the show. Yeah, it had more at stake, you could say, than
the usual battle royal.
Than the usual battle royal, because there was a number one contendership for a title on the line. I don't remember what was up for grabs in the battle royals. It also allowed less people in the ring at the same time, so individuals could flourish and show off and shine more. So I thought it was good. It was it wasn't a bad match by any means. It wasn't anything that lit your heart on fire, but it was entertaining. It was a good way to start off the show, or handle the pre-show to lead into the main show. Big Stupid says, with regards to the never open weight 6-man tag team championships, that it should just be renamed the Ménage à Trois title. But there's connotations there that I don't think would work.
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just you don't want to think about it at all.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Should we get to the next match?
Yes.
Are you sure you don't want to skip it? Because it wasn't entertaining at all from what I heard.
Well, I mean, if you really want, we can skip it, and we'll just get back to it later when they conclude the murder investigation.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Because that's exactly what happened. Will Ospreay killed Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, basically.
It was pretty goddamn brutal. Hot opener for the Never Openweight Championship. It was good. It was so good. And not just for the hard-hitting brutalness from the match, but just they had some sequences specifically where they were reversing, like Ibushi went for a last ride, which Ospreay countered into his own attempt on a last ride, which Ibushi countered. They had those reversal sequences that you see so much in New Japan amongst the top tier performers that you don't really see that often in WWE, unless it's like 2 really good main roster performers who are allowed to do it or okay to do it, or in NXT. So it's like it's great to see 2 people at the top of their game, 2 of the best be able to pull that stuff off so effortlessly.
Did you see what Ospreay tweeted after the match?
No, what did he tweet?
He was saying that all you people out there are telling me that I've got to quit using my style because I'm destroying my body and going to kill myself with it.
Now he's just destroying other people's bodies.
And he just said, well, this is what happens now. I'm going to kill other people instead.
Yeah, and this is kind of just even further evidence of the evolution of Will Ospreay. Like, Ospreay can still do these ridiculously insane things, all these crazy flips now, but now he's changing his persona to where he's got more of an edge, more of a viciousness to him. It's almost as if like he's merging this high flying abilities with this Japanese strong style personality as well, and like he just hit the hell out of Ibushi.
Yeah, this may have made him the king of the British wrestling scene now. Yeah,
pretty much. Big Stupid said that he thought that was very clever. What Ospreay said in his tweet.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's pretty much what he did, and it's brilliant. It's a great character move.
Yeah.
You really felt sympathy for Ibushi at certain points in the match. Ibushi. There was that one segment where Ibushi and Ospreay slapped the crap out of each other in the corner while Ibushi was in a tree of woe. Yeah. And then it ended with Ospreay viciously kicking like Ibushi in the head multiple times.
Not
and
to
then
mention that elbow to the back of the head.
which was the finish, which looked gross, but upon further review, it actually was probably one of the safer things he did. He just hit him with a lot of force because it looked like the way that he did it, the elbow, he got him here, and he angled his arm so that way it would just slide this way, so it wasn't a direct contact. It was more like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as impactful, but I mean, still, he hit him really friggin' hard.
Yeah.
I think the kicks combined with that elbow, combined with Ibushi smacking his face first on the ring post with his mouth and then his nose into the canvas on a double stomp with Ospreay led to him suffering what is being reported as a concussion.
Yeah.
But they sold it at the end and it ended up being a work. And good job, because there were people who were fooled that Ibushi might have actually been hurt because they took Ibushi out on a stretcher.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ibushi sold being unconscious and out cold
Amazingly.
perfectly for Ospreay, and Ospreay had to deadlift, pretty much lift him up for that. I can't remember the name of the maneuver, but it was he had him in the clutch for as if you were going to deliver an angel's wings or a pedigree. The double underhook, and then lifted him up onto the shoulders, and then spun him out.
Okay. I think I've seen Buddy Murphy do that move as well, but yeah,
it's similar to what Buddy Murphy does, but I don't think Buddy Murphy does the double underhook. I think he just does it from a gut wrench.
He also does it into a DDT.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, and that was the finish. And now Will Ospreay is your new champion. And be ready to hear that quite often because that's a trend with this show.
Yeah.
I thought this match was incredible.
I saw a brilliant tweet earlier today where it was take a shot every time there's a new champion. And then it just showed some camera footage of someone dressed as Santa in a garage and just like passing out and going face first into the bumper of a car.
Yeah. I feel like, have you ever seen the image of the puppet who's got like a drink in its hand that's just smashing itself into like all the dishes of a dishwasher and it makes a lot of noise? I feel like that's what it's like. Okay. Like you turn that into a meme where like the first group is like a bunch of people like maybe raising a shot to each other, and the meme box says rule for New Japan Wrestle Kingdom: take a shot every time a champion loses the title. And then the next slide is just that image of the puppet just crashing into all of the dishes in the dishwasher.
There you go. Well, let's keep this.
But yeah, well, I was, but then you brought up the whole drinking game thing. I thought that this match was really great. I think it was one of the best matches of the night. Very entertaining. I love where Ospreay's taking his character. Really made Ibushi feel like a babyface. Makes me think that maybe Ibushi might be, if Kenny isn't going to WWE, which we'll talk about that later, and he goes to All Elite Wrestling, maybe Ibushi goes with him, or maybe Ibushi goes to All Elite anyway.
Yeah. You never know.
Because you notice there are a lot of people who went on their backs who, if they weren't in the Elite, they were very closely related to the Elite, be they rivals or friends.
Yes. So you heard it here, folks. Within a few months, you're going to see new WWE Cruiserweight Champion Kota Ibushi.
Please no.
Well, are you actually saying you would not want to see Kota Ibushi mix it up with the likes of Buddy Murphy?
I think it'd be great. Yeah. I just don't want to see Ibushi. Ibushi's been fighting hard enough to be considered a heavyweight in New Japan. I don't want him to be stuck in 205 Live forever.
Part of the reason I say that is because, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic. And there is hope. God, why am I blanking on his name? Mustafa Ali just got out of the Cruiserweight division.
Yes.
But anyway.
Which is a thing, and it's awesome, and it's great that somebody finally got out of 205 Live and is actually making something of themselves. Yes. And it's good that it's Mustafa Ali, because Mustafa Ali is amazing.
Exactly.
Then we had the triple threat match. This is actually the one match I couldn't catch in time. So it might be very brief on this one. Three-way match, triple threat match for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships. And that was between Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado versus Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo versus Bushi and Shingo Tagaki. And Shingo Tagaki and Bushi ended up pulling out the victory.
Congrats to
over
them.
Sho and Yo. So I didn't really catch much of this match. I clipped around a bit, but from what I saw, it was solid.
Okay.
I wish I could provide more information. Maybe next week we can.
Yeah, because I mean, I believe you mentioned it. I'm hoping to watch this show with some people tomorrow.
Yes.
So
Then we had Tomohiro Ishii. Oh, by the way, that is champions because Roppongi 3K were the. Or no, it wasn't Roppongi 3K. It was
Desperado and
Kanemaru who were the champions. So that's 0 for 2 so far for champions defending a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep.
Then we had the British Heavyweight Championship match of Tomohiro Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. This was a short match. Very much a Zack Sabre Jr. type match, a very technical, very joint manipulations, submissions, moving around. Ishii didn't really get to do as many strong strikes or hard hitting. And again, the champion did not retain. Zack Sabre Jr. made Ishii tap out.
Yeah.
I was not incredibly overwhelmed by this match. It was still entertaining. It was still good for what it was. But that's the thing with Zack Sabre Jr., I feel, and Sabre Jr.'s matches, that though he's a technical wizard and what he does is great and he can do things that very few, if any, people can do, none of it is exactly, I would say, jaw-dropping in terms of storytelling or selling or facial expressions in the match, or even like moves that make you go like, holy hell, how did they pull that off? A lot of his stuff, I feel like it's kind of like, oh wow, that was really cool. Oh, how the hell did he do that? That was cool.
The only reason I'll really disagree with you is because I feel like he did a very good job with all that stuff during the Cruiserweight Classic.
I mean, even during the Cruiserweight Classic, I enjoyed what he did, but none of it really wowed me. Maybe I'm just not a big Zack Sabre Jr. kind of guy.
Yeah, maybe.
I recognize his talent and I recognize his ability, and I know that he's a really good wrestler. He's just not a guy that like excites me a lot.
Well, fun fact, Zack Sabre Jr. was actually my favorite. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but he was the person I wanted to win the Cruiserweight Classic, even over Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, I was pulling for Ibushi.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, Ibushi was my number 2, but I really want to see Zack Sabre Jr. go all the way.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, yeah, the match, I still thought it was good. It was entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Just didn't blow me away. Really short. And 0-3. Another champion loses their title. Keep that in mind. Keep remembering. I think you know where we're going at this point. Then we had the triple threat match for the IWGP Tag Team Championships of Evil and Sonata versus the Young Bucks versus GOD, which is Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And Evil and Sonata won.
Yep.
Took the titles from Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. I honestly expected GOD to retain because I thought they were trying to build up Jay White with this new Bullet Club. I thought we were going to see like dominant performances from Bullet Club members in this show, and
I wouldn't necessarily say, at least in this match, I didn't know if they'd necessarily be dominant so much as at the very least very well holding their own against everyone and pulling out the win.
Yeah. And not that Evil is not as bad. Like they're good. And this match
I don't dislike a single team in this.
Yeah, no. And this match was really good. It was really fun. One of my favorite things that I loved about this match is, as you were saying, we've talked about it before with the Bucks, I believe, and Matt, I think it is. Matt is the one who has the bad back, right? Not Nick.
I believe so.
Yeah, Matt took a, I think it was a scoop slam and then a huge clothesline on the ramp. And then they immediately went to showing like, oh, he just took 2 big moves onto his back on the ramp, and he's got those back issues, and they built up the back issues.
That's always good.
So I liked the bit of psychology they had in there. They went right to the Young Bucks and how, you know, Nick has to make up for Matt's bad back. And yeah, I also, one thing I would like to say, because we haven't talked about entrances yet, which I did like Osprey's entrance attire, which was cool. He had like almost like Assassin's Creed-esque hood. But GOD, they had some sick entrance stuff. They had those masks that almost looked like Predator masks with the light up eyes.
I heard people saw people tweeting out with a picture of Tama Tonga in his ring attire, and they're going, "Oh, look, it's Red Hood."
Oh God, that is true. It
Yeah.
did look actually pretty
exactly.
Red Hood-esque. I didn't draw that
'Cause
connection.
Do you know what his whole thing is right now?
I did not. No.
2019, New Year, New Me, Good Guy Tamatonga.
Ah, okay. Oh yeah, I remember hearing them talk about that in commentary, which is kind of contradictory since his group's being led by Jay White now.
Well, I mean, that's part of, as I mentioned before to you, before we started the show, they had New Year's Dash, and that's apparently part of why he had Chase Owens and I forget, Yoshiro, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let them rejoin Bullet Club.
Yujiro Takahashi.
Yeah, let them rejoin the Bullet Club and literally hugged them, letting them join back in.
Yeah.
And that's a part of his Good Guy Tamatonga thing.
Yeah, they were mentioning that on commentary that he's kind of turned over a new leaf, and that's why he wasn't doing any cheap crap during the match.
And I'm just kind of like, okay.
So yeah, I really thought this was an entertaining match. I enjoyed it. I liked the psychology with the Bucks. It was good. And now 0-4 are the champions at this point. We are halfway through the show about, and not a single champion has won. And that ain't continuing in the next match, which is Cody, don't call him Rhodes, and Juice Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Every time I see Juice now, I always think of that tweet that I think I sent you a screen cap text of.
What's that?
Between Juice Robinson and Kevin Owens, where recently it was the anniversary of Kevin Owens' debut in NXT, and he tweeted Juice saying, "Hey, it's the anniversary of that day that you broke my nose and we became best friends."
Yes. But anyway, this, by the way, is a rematch of Cody's first match in New Japan with in Wrestle Kingdom 2 years ago, or his first Wrestle Kingdom match at least. That one was not for the United States Championship because the United States Championship was not a thing then.
Yeah, but he did take the title off of Juice.
Did he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Cody's the 4th champion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Kenny, followed by Jay White, followed by Juice,
yeah, you're right.
And then Cody won it off of Juice.
Yes. This match was entertaining. I think I got my hopes up a little too high for it because it didn't meet the hype I kind of had for it. I expected big things from Juice in this match, and I expected Cody to go all out. But to be fair, Cody tweeted out recently that after the All Elite Wrestling rally, he's getting he's getting surgery done. Don't know what. On his knee. Yeah.
So if you haven't noticed, he's been wearing a knee brace.
Yeah. So he was wrestling hurt. So it maybe explains the match a little more slower paced, more sports entertainment-y, more WWE like, which wasn't bad.
Former WWE guys.
Yeah. And the only thing that I found funny was Brandy, who came out and eventually got kicked out. She got kicked out because Cody was claiming that there was something in his eye or something, and the ref needed to help take a look at it. Or I think he was maybe saying like his knee. He wasn't sure about his knee and wanted the ref to like maybe check on his knee. And so while the ref had her back turned, Brandy hit this awkward kind of spear on Juice.
Oh, the bionic shoulder.
Yeah, the bionic shoulder.
Yeah.
And then got on top of Juice and was hitting him, and the ref turned around and still saw her hitting him. Now in WWE land and a lot of other wrestling companies, immediate disqualification. Cody retains, and said the ref is like, "You can't do that. Go to the back. You're out of here. Get the F out of here."
GTFO of IWGP US title.
Yeah, and part of me was kind of like, okay, that's fine. Brandy's kicked out, but I'm like, could you do it in a way to where she isn't assaulting the opponent or the challenger and thus grounds for an immediate disqualification?
Well,
I mean maybe you could say it's left up
with those rules and
I was gonna say, like, what somebody in my chat said, like, you know, referees in New Japan are kind of more lenient, or kind of an issue with their inconsistencies. So you could say maybe it was referee's discretion and the referee chose to just kick her out instead of disqualify her.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, that's also it's kind of a referee's decision at that point. And if you think about it storyline wise, and you're in the referee's position, this guy's wife is attacking his opponent, which I should disqualify them, but that would not punish them because they'd get to keep their title.
Yeah.
And it punishes the guy who's being assaulted already.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And also after Juice won the match, there was a very, very fitting imagery of the Bucks came out and basically carried Cody out with his arms around their shoulders, kind of like a symbolic gesture of them departing for hopefully greener pastures to AEW.
Hopefully greener pastures.
Yeah. But yeah, this was entertainment. This was entertaining. More of a sports entertainment type match. Definitely didn't meet the expectations that I was hoping for it. Kind of disappointed in it. I kind of was expecting more out of that match, but I wouldn't say it was a bad match. Alrighty. Oh, so somebody tried to put a link in. I hope I didn't see the. Apparently Beast Boy the best. Hopefully that didn't show up in the video. If it did, don't click that link. It's a YouTube link. I don't trust it. He said, "Can you please react to this video from Mad TV?" Won't be doing that.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
So we're gonna move on. I just want to point people out that it was a link. So I don't want anybody, if you see that link, do not click on it if you're watching this back on Twitch or on YouTube. Anyway. Next up, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match of Kushida versus Taiji Ishimori. And did you see Kushida's entrance?
Yes, that creepy entrance.
Yes.
Super creepy.
Yes, with the kid who was wearing a Kushida mask / helmet that looked scarily lifelike. I don't want to know how much money was spent on that thing. Well, yeah, that was the point because it's a helmet.
I know, but I'm saying it was extra creepy because not only did it look very lifelike, but it also looked like you had little tiny Kushida in big head mode in GoldenEye.
Yeah, with the little IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship belt, but also wearing his older Marty McFly type Time Splitters outfit.
Yeah.
Along with somebody dressed up as Doc Brown.
Yes.
Interesting. Certainly a thing. It was so much of a weird thing that I ended up making it my thumbnail for my reactions video.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it was a thing. But then the smoke hit and Kushida came out and all was good. All was right. This was actually one of my favorite matches of the night.
I'm not surprised.
Again, lots of really innovative, cool things, cool reversals, little nuanced kind of things that these guys both did. And it definitely showed why WWE is reportedly so high on Kushida and want to get Kushida.
Rumor is that he's been in talks with Triple H specifically.
Yeah. So who knows if Kushida ended up losing Taiji Ishimori. Again, another champion going out on his back. And who knows what's going to happen with Kushida next. If he's going to go to the E, or if maybe AEW can pull him away, or if he stays with New Japan.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
So, but anyway, this match was really good. Just want to say really entertaining. I really loved it. One of my favorite matches of the night. Then we move on to the big matches. This one was a shocker.
Yeah.
Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White. Switchblade Jay White.
AKA the knife pervert.
And Okada came out in his old Rainmaker gimmick. He brought back the Rainmaker to take on Jay White. And I was thinking to myself, yep, the blonde hair.
The glorious thighs.
The knot pants.
Which
everybody went nuts for.
Been brought back.
Which everybody loved. The crowd popped for it.
Pop of the night is Pop of the night was Okada no longer wearing pants.
Yes. But I thought, all right, Okada's back in his Rainmaker thing. They've been building up. It's the return of the Rainmaker. He's rejoining himself. I was like, this is going to be his big win. Like, Jay White will fight him tooth and nail. We'll give a good fight. We'll maybe beat him up after the match, but this is going to be the return of Okada. Okada is going to get that win. And that is not what happened. The match was shorter than I thought it was going to be, and just as I thought it was going into the false finishes of the end, it was over. Okada was able to hit one Rainmaker, went for another. White countered it, eventually got him into a Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Jay White defeats Kazuchika Okada, arguably the best wrestler in the world for the last 4 or 5 years, off of one finisher.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, Omega also beat Okada using just a single one-winged angel.
But also, first things first.
He also probably hit 20 V-triggers in every single match.
There's that. And there's also the fact that they had how many matches before that? There were 3 before that, and that match was the 4th. And
they built up the storyline. They also built up the storyline that Kenny kept trying and couldn't hit it. And the only reason why Okada still had the championship, was still able to hold on, was because Kenny had not been able to figure out a way to finally hit the one-winged angel on Okada.
And on top of that, how long were their matches?
Like 45 minutes to an hour each.
Yeah. And this was the 4th match of that. And then he finally beat Okada after all of that, as opposed to one 15-minute long match.
Yeah. I almost kind of feel like Okada really, it really was a good match. What they did with the time they had was really good, was really entertaining. I did like it. Jay White has shown vast improvement since last year when he wrestled Tanahashi. I did not like his match with Tanahashi last year.
Yeah,
this match was good. And it does show that Jay White is definitely the future. He is going to be the one who steps into that Kenny Omega kind of role. Maybe he steps into that Okada kind of role. And he's going to be the next big thing in New Japan. And I can accept that now because he's definitely improved over the last year. I just really wish this was more of a war. This felt more like a regular, like just a match, because of just how quickly it just went to, because with New Japan, when you see titans like this clash,
it goes for a while.
You expect you don't expect one finisher to do it, or you expect it to go for a long time and for them to be like completely exhausted. So I was just shocked by the ending. I think it's kind of a good move. I just don't know what happens with Okada here. Like, where does Okada's character go from here? How does he recover from this? And the question is, and the other thing I'm going to say is, have we seen the last of Kazuchika Okada in New Japan?
Well, the thing I was going to say is, if I may make a suggestion, if he stays in New Japan.
What's that?
Goes after the Intercontinental title.
Against Naito again?
Why not? They had good matches.
Maybe. He could, but he's also coming off a loss in an untitled match to somebody who has not yet been a main eventer.
True, but he is also the longest reigning IWGP champion.
Yeah, but he's also coming off an off year where he hasn't really had a significant win since he's lost that championship.
Well, I'm not saying right off the bat. I'm saying that could be the next path that he goes on, is
maybe
to go for
maybe
that.
The next year will be a year of redemption that leads him to the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, or maybe it's a path to redemption that leads him to a rematch against Jay White for the IWGP Championship.
No.
But maybe that WWE phone finally rang, or maybe AEW pulled off a coup and got Okada.
Can I say one quick prediction, though?
What's that?
I have a bad feeling that Jay White may end up getting treated like the Roman Reigns of New Japan.
I can definitely sense that, because the fact that he has Gato as his manager right now, and the fact that he's been pushed to the moon and people feel that he's overrated, he almost is kind of it almost does have this sense of his push is almost exceeding his readiness. It's almost like he's getting that big corporate push.
Exactly, especially with this whole thing of AEW popping up and WWE trying to throw a lot of money at people. Mm-hmm. If New Japan gets, I hate to say it, but if New Japan basically gets gutted right now for talent, and they try to thrust Jay White into the spotlight to kind of fill in the gap, I mean,
they kind of have to.
They kind of have to, but I'm just saying that I have a feeling that that's why that's going to happen.
I mean, I think Jay White's going to do fine, though. He proved in this match and over the last year that he actually can go, that he is improving, that he is getting better. I think he is going to be one of the best wrestlers in the world in the next couple of years, that he's going to be headlining New Japan shows for the right reasons eventually, maybe not right now. And And also, I think if New Japan does get gutted and all these people we're talking about do leave, you're still going to have Naito. Tanahashi can still go for another couple years, as he proved in the main event, which we'll get to. You still got Jay White. Juice Robinson could move up and do things. They're building up David Finlay for stuff. So,
well, I mean, my main thing is just I don't think a lot of people are ready for him to take up that mantle.
Yeah, well,
and that it was
maybe
I feel like it may have been planned to happen a little later on.
Yeah, like
with
maybe
this whole thing coming in, they're pushing it a little earlier than people
Yeah,
were ready.
I think
for.
if AEW wasn't a thing, and if WWE wasn't chomping at the bit to try and pilfer more talent away from New Japan, then it'd probably be more of a slow burn for Jay White. But this is the situation that we're in.
Not to mention,
and I think he proved himself at Wrestle Kingdom 13. Not as much as I was hoping to be, because the match was, because I wanted him to showcase his ability to have enduring, like to show his endurance and have a long match and be able to tell an intense story about a war. But they told a different story, and he still sold that story well.
And I think it also doesn't help that there was a welcome to Bullet Club. And he said no. And then later on it was welcome to Bullet Club. And he's like, well, since it's not Kenny Omega in the Elite, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that may also...
Well, what, you mean with Jay White?
Yeah.
Well, no, the thing with Jay White, with the Bullet Club thing, is when you think about it, it's actually a kind of a master stroke in whatchamacallit, kind of a master stroke in storytelling, because the way they did it, I think what it was a plan from Jay White all along to pull off a coup of Bullet Club while also create an insane rift in their enemy Chaos the whole time. Because in the beginning of the year, Kenny Omega says, here, join Bullet Club. And he's like, no, okay. Well, he says yes, then says no, and hits Omega, and then joins Chaos. As a sneaky member of Chaos, he gains Gato's respect while also defeating Kenny Omega, showing that he's better than Kenny Omega and didn't need the support of other Bullet Club members to prove it, which gets Bullet Club to turn their heads. So then he secretly joins Bullet Club, pulls off the coup, and tells them, look, I really only did this because Gato wanted me, but Gato's willing to come with me, and I mainly did this to prove to you guys that I'm better than Kenny, and I didn't need anybody else's help to do it. Well, and then he eventually takes Gato with him, turns on Okada, Chaos is in Chaos, and he's pulled off this master stroke coup of kicking the Elite out of Bullet Club along with the rest of Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and all them.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about storyline-wise.
Okay, so what were you talking about?
I was just talking about fan reaction-wise.
Okay.
Because one of the big things with the Bullet Club for a lot of people was the Elite.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, well, his whole reason at the beginning as to why he said he wasn't joining is because of the Elite, and that he joined because the Elite's gone now. A lot of people who are fans of Bullet Club because of the Elite are probably not going to be a big fan of Bullet Club now.
I doubt that. I mean, look, Bullet Club was popular before the Elite were a thing.
No, I know. But the Elite was the main thing that was popular now, and then you get and look at all the names that are leaving, and the only name that came in was him. I'm not saying it's not going to be fine.
You've got Jay White there. You've got Gato.
Aid to why I think he might have that somewhat treatment.
You've got Jay White. You've got Gato. You have God, which is a very good tag team.
Mm-hmm.
You also have Taiji Ishimori, who's a member of Bullet Club. He's really good too. You've got plenty of talent in Bullet Club.
Yeah,
they're going to be fine.
A negative thing for Bullet Club. I'm saying in general towards Jay White that these are all things I think might combine to put more pressure on him than people are ready for him to have.
And what I'm telling you is that this pressure is not a big deal. I feel like what I'm saying is this pressure and this perception, if it is a perception by the fans of the Bullet Club, I think it's overblown. That's what I think. I think it's like overhyped, overblown.
Well,
all this
I'm
oh my God.
talking more about fan reaction towards him over the course of the next year as opposed to him as a performer.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that I'm not on board with the fans.
Okay.
I don't agree with that outlook by the fans. Welcome Bowling Dude, by the way, the Murph Bros resident AEW reporter who has entered the chat and cheered us with a 2-bit cheer. Thank you, man. What is up? We'll get into All Elite Wrestling soon, but we're still chugging our way through Wrestle Kingdom.
For the second murder of the night.
Yeah. Intercontinental Championship match, Tetsuya Naito versus Chris Jericho. And oh my God, I love this match. I loved this match so much. This goes to show that even in his late 40s, Chris Jericho is one of the best to have ever put on a pair of boots and wrestling tights.
And
ever.
Still knows how to murder people just like not Zack Sabre Jr., like Will Ospreay did to Kota Ibushi earlier in the night, where Jericho murdered Naito with a DDT on a table.
Yes.
Like, I showed people
also,
I work
Naito
with.
sold that DDT so well.
Yeah.
Naito, by the way, like, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I just want to, before this leaves my head, I just want to point this out. Not only did Jericho look amazing, Naito, in the way he bumped and sold, he sold like a legend and bumped for Jericho like a legend in this match. So I just want to get that off my chest, so you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I saw that clip of Jericho giving that DDT to Naito and his selling and everything, I showed people the clip, some of the people that I work with who don't really watch wrestling or anything, and their initial reaction is, oh my God, when did they get him to the hospital? Or, holy shit, that guy has to be dead.
Yeah.
And then they saw him starting to roll around on the table, and they're like, how is he not paralyzed?
Because Jericho protected him, and he used the guardrail to plant.
And I was just like, hey, Japanese wrestling, man.
Yeah. I think my favorite part that showed just how good Jericho was in this match, also and how he's a master at how to get cheap heat, is the fact that after he did that, he acted like he won. He called Red Shoes over and tried to force Red Shoes to raise his hand and ring the bell and call the match over.
Yep.
I thought that was just great. And those kendo stick shots in that match.
Yep.
Oh my God, were they brutal. Especially, I think my favorite one, though, was actually the one that didn't connect when Naito teed up like he had a baseball bat, swung so hard that the top cap flew off of the kendo stick.
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
I friggin' love this match. This was such a good match.
I do also have to point out, I love, and apparently many other people also love, Chris Jericho's newest change in his character of goth dad that just walked out of Hot Topic.
And just watched Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
I think one other thing that I just want to highlight before we talk about the winner and the finish and we move on is just there was this one thing that I popped really hard for in my live reactions that was very nuanced that I loved as a sequence.
Okay.
Naito has Jericho in the corner. Naito goes for a drop kick, hits the drop kick, but is able to effortlessly float over the top rope and land on the apron. He then, as he lands on the apron from the drop kick, delivers a kick to the back of Jericho's right leg, causing Jericho to lose his legs out from under him and sit out on a cell. And then Naito immediately jumps over for like a float over kind of springboard rebound drop kick, upon which Jericho catches his legs, brings him to the center of the ring, and turns it into a Walls of Jericho.
Very nice.
I think what Naito did in doing the drop so fluidly, hitting the drop kick, floating over, and then still, as he landed, kicking Jericho's leg from under the bottom rope. Like, that's the kind of nuanced wrestling stuff. I want to say the other S word, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be nice. That I absolutely go nuts for.
Yeah.
That I mark out like crazy. I love all that little nuanced stuff that, like, so that way, because, like, he could have landed over the top rope and then maybe delivered a couple shots or maybe, like, then kicked his leg out from under him. But the fact that he did it so effortlessly in one fluid motion just... Oh, that just shows
the expertise of his technique.
Exactly. It shows how good Naito is as a wrestler.
Exactly.
And so now that I've gushed about that, because I gushed about that before, Naito did eventually end up winning. He hit the first, finally executed the Destino, and Jericho kicked out, but then Naito was just like, okay, because this was a no disqualification match. He's like, okay, got the title, wailed on Jericho with the title, and then hit another Destino and won the championship. Loved this match. Might be my favorite match of the night. This or the main event. but this might be my favorite match. I think if you put a gun to my head and you had me pick, I think this might be the one that I would pick.
Okay.
It's my favorite match of the night.
Well,
Bowling Dude said that Jericho's entrance attire was his favorite of the night. I can't remember it.
He wore the jacket with spikes all over it.
Oh, yes, the spike jacket.
That's
that
the
was
goth dad that just walked out of Hot Topic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that spike jacket was. And didn't he wore a mask too, didn't he, with the lines on there?
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but yeah, that jacket was dope.
Yep.
That was a dope jacket. And also airbrushed on the back was Jericho's own face.
Oh, nice.
With the design, with the cross designs on his eyes. All right, so let's get to the final match of the night, the main event, the IWGP Championship Heavyweight Championship match. Kenny Omega versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it was good.
I believe
It was really good. It was really, really.
I have to wait to see it.
Really
myself.
good.
I know a lot of people went crazy over Kenny's entrance. And his entrance attire.
Oh, his entrance was dope. It looked like he was from
Undertale.
I think maybe it was Undertale because I haven't played Undertale. The entrance video was Undertale-esque.
Yeah.
But I saw the One-Winged Angel, so I didn't know if he was trying to be Cloud with armor or if he was trying to be Pit from Kid Icarus, but I knew it was a video game reference because it's Kenny, and Kenny is an amazing nerd.
Yep.
The entrance was really cool. This match was really good. It told a great story. They both fought tooth and nail for the championship. Poor Tanahashi's ribs because he absolutely ate it going for a frog splash to the outside through a table on Jericho on Omega, and Kenny was just like, nope.
Yep.
And then also Tana at the very end ended up with what looked like a potentially broken nose. I can't remember what it was, but he ended up bleeding from it. I think it might have been a self-inflicted one, just like Bushi. But
it wasn't so severe that he wasn't able to wrestle at New Year's Dash.
Yes. Good match. I loved the storytelling in this match too because they had some in-ring psychology going on. Even though it didn't fully play out in the end the way I was kind of hoping to, it still played out throughout the match with they played up that Kenny apparently has bad knees. So Tanahashi attacked the knees, and Kenny uses the knee for the V trigger, and then also needs his knees to hit the One-Winged Angel. Meanwhile, Kenny just kept attacking the back and the shoulder blades of Tanahashi. The fact that he is old, that he's beaten up, that his back might not be 100%, and that the One-Winged Angel, he drops them on the back of their neck and their shoulder blades, their upper back.
Yeah.
So I loved the storytelling there between the body part targeting there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked that Kenny got the rub and that he kicked out of one of Tanahashi's frog splashes. And if I remember, I think, yes, Kenny never hit the One-Winged Angel.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And still, nobody is yet to kick out of the One-Winged Angel, so they still protected Kenny.
Yeah, the closest you've gotten is I think both Okada and Jericho have put their foot on the rope to get out of getting hit with the One-Winged Angel, and that's the closest anyone's gotten to kicking out of it.
Yeah, but Kenny was never able to hit it. The only thing that bothered me was that when Kenny tried to go for it, I think he tried to go for it twice late in matches. I was hoping that the finish or one of the near finishes was that Kenny was going to sell his knee and drop Tanahashi into Tanahashi hitting something and then hitting it like a sling blade and then hitting the frog splash. But we didn't get that. Instead, we got an insane counter where Kenny had Tana up for the One-Winged Angel and Tana like half leapt up. I couldn't tell if he was trying to do, I think he was trying to do like a midair sling blade, but like he lifted his leg over Kenny and almost like had his arm on Kenny's head, and Kenny just back bumped as Tana went down into like a sit out position kind of.
Interesting.
Which he then followed up with a sling blade, a second frog splash, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. New IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and the champions went 0 for what is it? 6,
8, I think.
Or
because every match except for the pre-show match and
it was for a championship, so 0 for 8. Champions went 0 for 8.
Yeah.
8 championships. Every single championship on the line at Wrestle Kingdom 13 went to the challenger.
Yep.
I really love this match. I love Kenny Omega. I thought for sure that he was going to win and that this was just a nod to Tanahashi, but I guess Kenny is gonna be done. His contract's up in January.
Nope.
What do you mean?
His contract isn't up until February.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh well, that's another couple weeks.
Yeah. So
who knows if he's gonna go to WWE or to AEW?
One thing I want to point out is the reason I mentioned that is because there were God knows how many people being like, "Oh, Kenny lost. This means Kenny's gonna be in the Royal Rumble," and people being like, "He's not done until February, so he literally can't be in the Royal Rumble, guys."
I was kind of sad seeing Kenny beaten in the ring, but this is likely it for him in Japan, and I never thought I would see him leave New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of not terribly surprised, just because, I mean, everyone eventually goes for some kind of change.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was saying that he wanted to go and do everything he hasn't done in New Japan and build it up as much as he can before he leaves. And I mean, after bringing a legend like Jericho in and doing all the stuff with him, and then finally winning the IWGP Championship and main eventing Wrestle Kingdom how many times? Mm-hmm. I mean, how much more can you do after that?
Yeah,
he was the first.
Well, that was
US
one thing
champion.
That was one thing I was saying. Actually, my reactions was like, I never thought I'd see him leave, but he's technically ticked off all of the boxes for New Japan.
Yeah,
he's main evented. This is his second Wrestle Kingdom main event, because he main evented against Okada 2 years ago, right?
Yeah,
and then he wrestled for the Intercontinental Championship against Jericho. No, that was just a grudge match, I think. No, it was for the Intercontinental Championship against Jericho last year, which he retained.
No,
I think,
that was
right?
The U.S. title.
No, the U.S. title, he was the first U.S. champion, but he was also the Intercontinental Champion, too.
Yeah, but the first match he had with Jericho, he was the U.S. champion. That was at
Was
Wrestle
he?
Kingdom last year. And it was a no DQ match.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was the first time Jericho wrestled for New Japan, was challenging Kenny for the U.S. title.
But he still was Intercontinental champion at one point, was he?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
But anyway, he's wrestled in some of the greatest matches of all time, one of the greatest New Japan rivalries of all time, or wrestling rivalries of all time with Okada.
Yeah.
He became the leader of the Bullet Club. He headlined 2 Wrestle Kingdoms. He won.
He won the G1, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won the G1 a couple years ago. Not entirely sure about that, but I think he won the Junior Heavyweight Championship as well. He's wrestled Tanahashi.
Yeah.
So
he just wrestled Tanahashi in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, so what else is there for him to do? So I guess it is time for him to move on.
Yep. And one thing I'll point out is, who's to say that he won't go back every now and then?
Well, if he signs with WWE.
I mean, if he signs with WWE, he might not. But if he were to sign with, let's say, AEW, you really think Cody and the Young Bucks are going to be
let's not get into that
Japan?
Because there's so much uncertainty with AEW. I don't want to assume things. As far as what their contracts are what kind of relationships they have with other promotions. Bowling Dude, by the way, says that Kenny's entrance was Undertale. And I'll get to the other stuff about his entrance video, because there is a story about that. Mm-hmm. Show overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked Wrestle Kingdom 12 better. But
Wrestle Kingdom 12 was really good.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 12 was probably one of the best Wrestle Kingdoms or wrestling shows I've ever seen in my life.
You had the Fatal 4-Way for the Junior Heavyweight title. You had Jay White versus Tanahashi for the IC title. You had Jericho versus Omega for the US title. You had Okada versus Naito for the IWGP title. You had the Young Bucks versus Young Show. It was a great show overall.
Yes. But I thoroughly enjoyed Wrestle Kingdom.
I'm excited to see it tomorrow.
Yeah. You're excited to see it in full.
Yes.
So, all right. So, moving on from that, speaking of Kenny, it is believed that just before Wrestle Kingdom 13, he received a fantastic offer from WWE. This is from Bleacher Report, who's citing Meltzer on the Wrestling News Observer Radio, that WWE made a fantastic contract offer prior to his match against Hiroshi Tanahashi at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 13 on Friday. And that's pretty much it. Like, there's no confirmed stuff on numbers. I've heard
rumors.
I've heard rumors of 3.5 million. I think you said you heard rumors of 5.2 million.
5.4 was the latest I had heard.
So it seems like this is a big play by WWE to try and steal who would be, if Omega is going to AEW, AEW's biggest asset, so that way they don't become a threat. And also grab the biggest name in wrestling right now.
Yep. One of the things, though, is I have a feeling that if Kenny were to go to WWE, it'd be like, yeah, the money's nice, but on top of that, I want to have a lot of creative control over myself and my character.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Kenny is going to the WWE at some point. I just don't know if it's right now.
Yeah.
Because with All Elite Wrestling, does he want to help build something with his friends and be in the States, or does he want to go to WWE and probably have a lot of creative freedom or creative input, or does he want to go to WWE and just hope that the machine treats him well?
I could see three things here. I could see him potentially stay with New Japan because he loves New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I saw someone point out is, yeah, like Kenny's going to go to AEW or WWE in the United States, and he's going to leave New Japan, which he loves, and also leave his boyfriend who doesn't like planes.
Well, here's the thing. Kota already came to the U.S. for the Cruiserweight Classic, and he went out on his back at Wrestle Kingdom as well. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe WWE made an offer to both of the Golden Lovers. Maybe AEW made an offer to both the Golden Lovers, and maybe Ibushi and Omega, maybe not as a tag team, will end up in the same promotion.
I just thought that whole thing was funny. But, I mean, he could stay there. He could go to WWE. Or he could go to AEW. And I could even see him doing something like going to AEW for like a year or two. Help build them up, get them nice and strong. And then, hey, WWE, that multi-million-dollar offer is still available? All right, I'll see you next week.
Yeah. So we will see. Yep. But things are going to be very interesting within the next couple of weeks as far as news and who these big stars, what's happening with all these big stars from New Japan, and whether they're going to stay with New Japan or go to either WWE or AEW.
Yeah.
One last thing I'd like to point out also about Kenny before we move on, because I'm looking at it now, his attire. If you look at his tights, I don't know if these were inspired by Undertale, but on his right leg, he has these serpents. Mm-hmm. And I noticed with the color scheme and the way the serpents were positioned, they looked very similar to the logo of the Razer, the company Razer, which makes headphones.
They called him out on it.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw they had a screenshot of his tights and had their logo next to it, and they said, "We see you, Kenny Omega."
Yep, I thought so. I was like, I don't know if this is a sponsored thing. I don't know if Kenny likes Razer stuff, but that definitely looks like the Razer logo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I, by the way, use SteelSeries, but Razer also makes good products.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to plug it all or get some money, but hey, Razer, if anybody watches,
yeah,
let me know. I could deal with some peripherals. I could use some headsets. I'm a PC gamer. Okay. Bowling Dude said that he doesn't see Kenny signing anytime soon. Probably means WWE. So let's now, since we're talking about all this AEW, WWE stuff, New Japan stuff, let's talk about everything that we know about AEW. So Forbes, funny enough, they report on wrestling and they have this big breakdown. So I'm just going to read about it. So AEW, as we know, professional wrestling company being run by Cody and the Bucks, as hinted at by the name Elite in the title, came kind of after All In, and the Khan family, so like here's like who's behind it that isn't Cody and the Bucks. So the promotion was created by Jacksonville Jaguars co-owner Tony Khan. He'll also be the president of the company, and he signed both Cody and the Young Bucks. They were the first talent to be named, obviously, because it was probably their idea.
They've also been named as the vice presidents of the company.
They're serving as vice presidents of the company. I think they're actually executive vice presidents. Or
Yes,
Cody's
that's what
executive
it is.
vice
Executive
presidents.
vice presidents. Yeah.
And Brandy will also end up with the company. She also signed, and she'll be the CBO, the Chief Brand Officer.
Which I find funny because that's the position that Stephanie has in WWE.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think. It's believed that Cody and the Bucks will be the bookers, right?
Mm-hmm. At least the Bucks.
And Matt, or which one of the Bucks? One of them, I think, is actually like the CFO, like this chief financial officer for the company too, I think, right?
I have not heard about that.
Yeah, I think Matt or Nick, one of them actually got a college degree like in finance or something, so they've become like the chief finance officer for the company or something like that. I remember seeing a tweet about that. Others who were signed, Hangman Page, Britt Baker, BJ Whitmer, and Dana Massey have all officially signed to work with the promotion. Khan, as far as investors go, Khan is reportedly backing the promotion with $100 million of his own money to start off.
Yeah, he's a huge wrestling fan. As a matter of fact, quick little thing I'll mention, Agent Christian's Pod of Awesomeness this week, they had Pete Dunne as their guest, which is part of the reason I went and listened to it right away. In the opening, they talk about how Christian has met Tony Khan before and that he tried to talk with Tony Khan about football, and Khan kept trying to turn it back to wrestling because he's a huge wrestling fan, and that's main reason why he's doing this, because he's a huge fan of wrestling.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, that's loud. That needs to be quiet. My phone went to silent. So yeah, and the Khan family also owns one of the Premier League teams. I can't remember which one. They're having a rally at TIA Bank Field on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, apparently. And we don't know what's going to happen. We know that they've announced Double or Nothing, which is going to be their first event. We don't know when that's going to be. That's basically going to be a sequel to All In, pretty much. And it is rumored that Chris Jericho and Goldberg might join, as well as maybe Kenny Omega, maybe Okada, maybe anybody who lost like their big matches at Wrestle Kingdom. And also disgruntled WWE people are rumored to maybe eventually jump ship, like Zack Ryder and other people. There is no official deal announced, but it's been rumored that TNT, TBS of Turner Television, who supported WCW, might be interested in signing them to a TV deal.
Which would be very nice. Yes.
And that's pretty much everything we know as for AEW.
Now, here's one random thing I'm going to ask you in relations to AEW. If you could see any random talent, WWE, Impact, Indies, whatever, go to AEW just to see how they would do in that environment, who would you pick?
Like WWE guys?
WWE guys, Impact guys, ROH, anyone what you would want to see.
Jay Lethal is the first name that comes to mind. Johnny Nitro, aka Johnny Mundo.
Impact champion.
Yep.
Johnny Impact.
Johnny Impact. Zack Ryder. I think Zack Ryder would thrive in AEW.
You know who my number one pick to see go there would be?
Shelton. Hold on. Let me just think of a couple other guys. But yes, I am interested to hear. Shelton Benjamin would be another one. Ty Dillinger.
I'm just going to point out that I did.
Tyler Breeze.
I did say top talent, not talents.
Oh.
Well, I mean, technically, if you want to do like a tag team or something.
And Big Stupid's spelling it out. CM Punk. He wants CM Punk. Do you think Punk would go to AEW?
I don't know. He might.
He didn't go to All In.
He's still. I mean, he did a signing before All In, not for All In.
Yeah, but I thought he was done with wrestling.
But he is apparently done with wrestling. He is still friends with the Bucks as far as I know, but I don't know if he would, simply because one person I feel like might not necessarily sign a full-time contract with AEW, but might do some work with them, is someone like Colt Cabana, and he's currently suing CM Punk. So I don't know how that would work.
So who's your name?
Well, it's technically two names, but I'll use the one name that puts them together. LAX.
Okay.
I would love to see Santana and Ortiz go to AEW, because I mean, they've been killing it in Impact, and they've got a match, I think it's tonight or tomorrow, against the Lucha Bros, Ray Phoenix Jr. and Pentagon. and they've just been absolutely killing it. And I would love to see those two guys who, you know what, they've made a good name for themselves in Impact. When they're done with there, go to AEW.
If we're talking about guys who have made names in the States for themselves or are making names for themselves in the States who are wrestling, who we know, because we do know LAX, I would also suggest, Leo St. Giovanni.
Yeah.
And Tony Deppen.
That too, yeah. But I could see, and I would love to see both LAX and Coast to Coast go to AEW.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Anyway, Bowling Dude, our resident reporter, whose best friend, reportedly, according to him, knows the Khan family. Apparently, he actually got to talk to Tony Khan. And apparently he said the Jericho rumor is that they would love Jericho, but no official offer has been made to Jericho. Okay. That doesn't mean that they haven't been talking about a deal yet.
Yeah, and
they just haven't made a formal offer yet.
Yeah.
And the Khans own Fulham FC in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And Big Stupid points out another person. AEW should also get on the Neville level. Or the Pac level.
Yeah, but I don't know if he'll necessarily do that because I know he's
the Dragon Gate champion. Yeah. Dragon Gate champion,
yeah, because I know that's one of the places he started off with, and that's the first place he went back to once he left WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a match coming up soon with Will Ospreay, so.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so we're going to try and go through everything else really quick because we've already gone over an hour, so we're going to have to try and get through everything really quick, including the gaming stuff.
Yep.
On Raw, we had a cool promo with Seth Rollins. We might be seeing him become the guy. He might actually end up winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Lesnar for the championship.
I wouldn't be
at
surprised.
WrestleMania, which I'd be totally down with.
Same.
I can F with that.
Yeah. Could you Seth F with that?
Yes.
Could you Seth F and Rollins with that?
Yes, I can Seth F and Rollins with that. So.
Big Stupid saying, sorry, I have to go.
Yeah, do it.
Jericho Big Stupid saying, well, Jericho is going to be in AEW while at the same time buying Impact and entering the Rumble. So,
yeah. Big Stupid said, that 6 months ago. On SmackDown, Becky had a promo with Big Match John. She got the Big Match John rub, which was really cool.
Well, she is the man after all.
Mm-hmm. And on 205 Live, well, actually, also on Raw, over the week, we found out the first two official entrants of the Rumble, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Mm-hmm. On 205 Live, we found out two of the three people who are going to be challenging Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship at Royal Rumble, and that is Kalisto and Akira Tozawa.
Which will be interesting.
Mm-hmm. And on NXT, there was only one match. Matt Riddle beat Cassius Ohno.
Yeah. But do you want me to mention the card so far for the next TakeOver Phoenix?
Sure.
So we've got Tommaso Ciampa defending the NXT title against Aleister Black. We've got Shayna Baszler defending the NXT Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. We've got Undisputed Era defending the NXT Tag Team titles against War Raiders. And match that is probably my favorite, number one to look out for, is Ricochet defending the NXT North American Championship against Johnny Wrestling, which I am super excited for. I'm a big fan of both those guys. I'm excited to see what they do in the ring together. And if Johnny Gargano can take the title off of Ricochet, well, one, that gives Ricochet a chance to move on eventually, like get him in the process of going to head up to the main roster or whatever, but also we'll get DIY as singles champions in NXT, which I am not going to complain about.
Yeah. On to other WWE news. Unfortunately, we got some unfortunate news to bring up. Toni Storm, the Mae Young Classic winner, deleted all of her social media accounts this past week, and that is because she was hacked and some
sensitive material, some sensitive
images of her were leaked, and which caused harassment from basically garbage people on the internet, and thus she responded by deleting her social media accounts and disconnecting herself from social media, which is a shame. We condemn this kind of stuff, both the leaks and the harassment of people. You know, what people do in privacy is their own business.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes for like the whole like Page situation. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like these people were putting stuff onto like public sites or putting it out in public or whatever.
There's sensitive material being stolen from them and put online.
Either stolen from their phone or they privately shared it to certain people. So like you had to hack and go in and steal.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the equivalent of breaking into somebody's house and stealing like a person's like boudoir photos for like their newlyweds or whatever for when they were younger or something like that, or like some secret private photo stash they have under their bed when they're not home, and then mass producing and selling them, or giving them out to people,
and then people harassing them over it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
That was Paige, of course, came to Tony's support, as did Mauro Ranallo
and a bunch of other people.
Yes.
There is one other thing that we didn't mention that I want to bring up very quickly, which is that for those of you watch Monday Night Raw this upcoming week, because we will finally get to see the Revival win the Tag Team Championships.
Are they facing for the title this week?
Well, they are facing for the titles, because when they did challenge for the titles a couple weeks ago, they lost by Gable and Rude pinning the Illegal Man. And so, because of the fact that they did not lose properly, the ref messed up. They're getting a rematch for the titles. So, here's to the Revival winning the tag titles this upcoming Monday.
Probably not going to happen, because you
never know with the way they've been building the story. But we'll see.
Yeah. I won't believe WWE finally pulling the trigger on the Revival until it actually happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Never Big
Just
Stupid.
let it go.
No.
In the kinder terms of what Big Stupid said in the chat.
Yep.
So moving on from that, there's a report from Vince. There's a report not from Vince, report from Alvarez on Wrestling Observer, that Vince McMahon is apparently considering quote switching up the New Day again.
Yeah.
Now, some people have jumped the ship and say that this means they're going to break up the New Day. I just want to say, read those words carefully. Switching up does not mean breaking them up.
Yeah.
It just means they're probably going to move them in a new direction.
Yeah.
Maybe take their focus off the tag titles. Because
focus on single titles or something.
Yeah. Because my experience, having worked with Austin, having worked with Kofi, having worked with E for so long, and having conversations with them about the New Day in WWE, they will never break up.
Yep.
Like, mark my words, they will never break up. I feel like they would rather leave the WWE and either retire from wrestling or test the open market than split up.
Mm-hmm. Which, two things I'm going to say quickly about this. One, I'm excited for the New Day's new gimmick of every single week Big E starting to do Steiner math and Xavier Woods calling him out on it and telling him to stop doing Steiner math, because I don't know if you saw that, but that actually happened on SmackDown.
Did he do? Oh yeah, I heard that in their opening promo on SmackDown that he did Steiner math.
Because apparently they're all saying that they're going to go into the Royal Rumble match, and Big E started doing Steiner math about them winning the Royal Rumble, and Xavier literally said, "Dude, are you doing Steiner math right now? Don't do that. Don't do Steiner math.
You never go full Steiner math.
Yeah. And
you never go full Scott Steiner."
Apparently, Kofi also went on a bit of a rant saying that he's never even had a singles match for the WWE title, even though he's been there for over 10 years. So I'm excited to see that happen on a random SmackDown sometime soon.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this means a big push for Big E." Fun fact. Like, I don't know if I know, I'm pretty sure Austin has told other people this before and whatnot, but like Ian Austin, they both prefer Kofi to be the one who gets the singles push.
Oh yeah.
Austin has told me in the past that his big goal in WWE isn't for him to win the WWE Championship. It's to help Kofi win the WWE Championship. So maybe they say no, it's got to be Big E that gets the push. But my pitch, which I've been saying for years, they should do it, because all three of them are great. All three of them are amazing. They're a great team. They're a great act. They're one of the hottest merch sellers in the company's history. Have them go for a singles title. Maybe it's Kofi who actually wins the championship. but you have them do it to where they essentially take the championship and then freebird it.
Yeah.
I've
been saying the same thing.
Never before, to my recollection, has a group won a singles championship and then defended it and reigned with it under freebird rules. At least in the
Cool. That's the only exception.
Yeah, but that's two people who were a tag team. They weren't like a group.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And there was also like the Divas championship like 10 years ago. So like, yes, but it's not like a group. It was two people.
No, yeah. But I'm saying that's the closest we've got.
Okay. We've never seen it with a group of more than one person. And even if Late Cool did it, that sets precedent, saying it's been done before. You can do it with these people too.
I'm just going to point out, I believe we've talked about this before, when they had Xavier Woods answer the open challenge for John Cena with the U.S. title years ago, saying that we wish that Xavier would have won and they would have actually done the Freebird rule with the U.S. title, because he was joking, because he was in his promo saying they all came out and they said that they're going to do this, and not only be, because I think they were the tag champs at the time, but also the United States champions, and that they were going to freebird it as well. Yeah.
So I think that would be, and Big Super said, how relevant would that make the U.S. title instantly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, imagine they did that for the U.S. title. I think they and then eventually you build that for the WWE Championship. I think that's what you should do. Treat them as a single entity, have them start going after singles titles, and have them start freebirding singles titles. I think that would immediately rejuvenate them and rejuvenate whatever belt they touched.
And then I would be super excited for SummerSlam when you have a 6-man match for the U.S. title, and 3 of them are the New Day defending the title.
Yeah. And there's the other thing, like they all come out together. You don't know which one of them is going to defend it.
Exactly. Brings a whole new element to it.
I want to say hey to Cam, who is in chat. He's rocking one of my new sub emotes on Twitch. I did. I made this. I took out the text in the sub emotes, made it the Shamrock, and then just colors. Did different colors now for the controllers inside the Shamrock. So he's rocking the orange. I have the standard blue, then I have Irish flag green, Irish flag orange, and then gold.
Yep.
For length of time, which yes, which also, Cam, you have a new emote, by the way. I also have a new sub emote for everybody for the initial I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but there should be a new emote for you sitting there for you to use. Made a title belt one on Twitch. Gotta self plug a little bit when I get a chance. All right, so now that's the last hard wrestling stuff we have.
Yep,
we'll get into gaming stuff. But we will do this first. That entrance that Bowling was bringing out by Kenny Omega was inspired by Undertale. The video that was on there was actually part of a promo for that the creator of Undertale made with Kenny Omega, that was actually supposed to air as a promo before Wrestle Kingdom. But it didn't, or before the match. But for some reason, it didn't. And there was a disclaimer from Kenny saying, like, due to circumstances beyond the creator's control, it couldn't. But it does exist out in the world. It's on the Being the Elite YouTube channel, and it's called Kenny's Quest. And it's about a little boy who goes to this game shop with his father. Kenny is secretly the attendant, and he picks up this game called Kenny Quest. This was like a Famicom game. And his father says, oh, don't you want Tanahashi's Quest? And he's like, no, Kenny's cooler. I want Kenny. So he buys the game, and then like this little game sequence plays out using the graphics similar to Undertale. It's really entertaining. I recommend you guys check it out. Yeah. I thought it was really cool. And then...
quick thing, I think it was mentioned before, they also made the theme song that Kenny used.
Yes. And then I'm going to let you take control of this real quick. I'm going to jump off for a quick second. You are going to go ahead and read off. Kenny Omega and Austin both did for Giant Bomb their top 10 games of the year's list. So I figured it'd be a cool thing for you can tackle that by yourself, talk about them, list it down. I'll be right back, guys. And just bring it up if you got any comments.
Yep.
All you.
Look at me just switching over here. All right. So going over Kenny Omega and Austin Creed's top 10 games from Giant Bomb. Both of them, Kenny and Austin, both had number 10 had Far Cry 5 for number 10. After that, for number 9, they had Austin Creed had Mega Man 11. Good choice. while Kenny had COD Black Ops 4. Number 8, Austin had Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Kenny had a tie for Bloodstained and The Messenger. After that, number 7 for Austin was A Way Out. Very interesting game. Really want to do that at some point. Very good with bringing the co-op concept back, especially split screen. Kenny for number 7 had Batman: The Enemy Within from the Telltale series. Austin's number 6 was South Park: The Fractured Butthole, which I never got to try, but I heard good things about. Kenny's number 6 was Hollow Knight, which is always good. Austin's number 5 was Tetris Effect, which I've heard nothing but amazing things about, while Kenny for number 5 had Dead Cells. After that, number 4, Austin had Detroit Become Human, while Kenny had Celeste, which I have only heard great things about. Kind of side thing, but I'll point out for anyone who's interested, Polygon.com actually has a video describing how Celeste is not only a great game, but it will also make you better at games with how it gets you to strategize with how you play through the game. So you might want to give that a check. For number 3 for Austin, he had Marvel's Spider-Man, which Kenny also had for number 3, in which I'm going to have to agree with him because I've been playing that recently, and it is so goddamn good. Let's see. Number 2 for Austin was Electronauts, while number 2 for Kenny was Monster Hunter World, which is a very good thing. Number 1 for Austin was Monster Hunter World, and for Kenny, surprise, surprise, it was Undertale. So that is what the two of them had for their top 10 games of the year through Giant Bomb. I thought it was rather funny how they went about talking about it, because Kenny was saying that it's, the second time within a year that they're actually willing to work together to do a kind of collaboration, and that they can't stand each other and can only do these things kind of 2 times in a year. Cam points out that God of War is on there, which I am also surprised by, but at the same time I'm not terribly surprised, because I don't even know if they've played those games, and I believe I've heard that Austin has played the game, but I don't know about Kenny, whether or not he's played it. Not to mention, I know Kenny at least is more of a fighting game style player, and like some of the more simple games that are more straightforward as opposed to things like God of War. So yeah, that's that, and we've got Murpho coming back.
Wow, was that perfect timing? Did you seriously just finish that up?
Well, I just finished talking with about what Cam was saying as well.
Oh, that there was no God of War?
Yeah, that God of War. Nope, I got it over here. God of War did not make the list for everyone, and both Austin and Kenny, to answer Cam, both had Spider-Man as number 3 on their list, in which I've been playing that game, and I have to agree, it's been a hell of a good game.
Yeah, and they also both omitted Red Dead Redemption too.
Neither of them.
Because I did look at the list before we did the show.
I did also point out to everyone that I believe it was Kenny had Celeste as number 4 on his list, and that Polygon has a video on Celeste saying that not only is it a great game, but it makes you better at games, and they go in depth as to how it has a cliffhanger, not cliffhanger, but rock climbing strategy to the game of how you have to cherry pick certain points out. It's a very good video.
I've heard really, really good things about Celeste, and
I say it every time, the soundtrack is fucking amazing. And I was listening to it this morning.
I really need to get around to playing that game. Yeah, I also like how Kenny Omega listed Undertale as his number 1, even though it was from like a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw
it's
that,
it's personal games that you've played that year.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
And Big Soup is asking if I've ever heard or tried OOTP baseball. I don't believe so. So let me know in the chat and fill me in. All right, now that we're gonna make the transition into full-on games, we've got some controversies we're gonna talk about.
There is one thing I just realized though.
What's that?
We didn't do review of TLC.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about TLC real quick?
Okay, we'll just say I believe we tied on the show.
We did tie, so
I retained this.
You retained this. You also beat me in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
That's true, yeah.
In Wrestle Kingdom predictions.
Yep.
You were down 3-4 with 3 matches to go, and you got 2 of them right that I got wrong.
Yeah,
and 6-5.
I kind of hate to say this, but thank you, Jay White.
Yeah, friggin' goddamn switchblade.
But with TLC, the main thing that I have to say about it is, two main things. One, I was very let down with Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Just because it was more of like here's a random segment, but whatever. And then I agree with apparently Vince McMahon being upset that the Intercontinental title match did not get a good response, even though it was a really good match.
What?
Ambrose versus Rollins for the
Yeah,
IC
that
title.
was not that great.
I
That was
enjoyed it a lot.
underwhelming. It was okay, but it was underwhelming
Well,
for what it could have been.
I feel like it was partially because of the
Kind of
crowd.
slow and plotting too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of Ambrose's character now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and one other thing, a little statistic I want to bring up that our friend JJ mentioned to me as soon as the show was over because I watched it with him.
Sure, what's that?
So, did you know that that Asuka won both the very first and very last pay-per-view main events of 2018
Oh, yes, she did.
only to have the way the pay-per-view ended and everything have the focus go on Ronda Rousey?
Did it real? I don't know if I would
Not
go
100%
that
the
far
focus,
for the
but
second one.
the
But
fact that Ronda Rousey got involved to take some of the focus onto her.
I guess, but I mean, it fit the storyline.
No,
I
it
don't
does.
mind much.
I'm not saying it didn't fit the storyline, but that is an interesting statistic.
Yeah,
That the main event of both the very first and very last pay-per-view, Asuka won, and that Ronda Rousey was
and that main
involved.
event was stellar, by the way.
Oh, it
that
was.
TLC
It was really
match
good.
was amazing. I can't wait to see Becky and Ronda too.
Yeah.
Well, as
Becky and Ronda.
Becky and Ronda as well.
Yes.
The first match between the two of them.
Yes.
All right, so let's fully dive into gaming now.
Yep.
I've got some controversies to talk about. The first one is about a pro gamer who was saying that she was a woman pro gamer and that she was getting harassed by people saying that she was not actually a woman, that she was an imposter, and quit her team. Well, after new rumors surfaced, evidence came out, and it turned out those accusers were right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read this story from Kotaku. Earlier this week, a player going by the handle Ellie, no first or last name provided, departed Overwatch Contenders team second wind after facing harassment and doxing threats surrounding their identity. This evening, rumors circulated that they may have been an imposter after all. Now their former team has confirmed as much. In a Twitlonger post, Second Wind management did not clear up the player's real identity, but confirmed that Ellie definitely wasn't who they said they were. Here's a quote. As of today, Blizzard had gotten back to us on the background of Ellie and notified us that they were not who they claimed to be, and discovered that the Ellie account was used for purposes we do not support. We apologize to the community as a whole for not handling the situation better when we should have, and we aim to do better. As to why Second Wind didn't vet Ellie enough, they were apparently in an extreme bind after losing some players, needed somebody, and they couldn't find anybody in the competitive scene that could merge well with them. Again, who could merge well with them, who was good enough. I'm pointing at him because he's not good enough, despite what he's saying. Besides the gestures, for those of you in the audio version, DMurph is doing the Rob Van Dam like thumb gestures to himself.
Hands up, but yeah, it's me.
But yeah, so they were I guess in a corner, caught in a bind, and just didn't properly vet the person and hired them. So as it continues, here's more of the quote. Due to our desperation to fill a roster, we unfortunately overlooked crucial information that should have been paid more attention to. We did not properly allocate enough time to communicate with the public as a means to support our players, and as a result caused more questioning that could have been avoided. The article continues. Prior to Second Wind's statement, the competitive Overwatch scene was rife with speculation about Ellie's true identity. Earlier today, a streamer named Aspen claimed that top 500 player Punisher, a friend of hers who was linked to Ellie early on and was even accused of being them, was Ellie after all. A quote from Aspen during her stream. Ellie is not Ellie. The whole situation was meant to be, in a way, a social experiment. Ellie is actually Punisher, and he told me yesterday, so there you go. Aspen wasn't able to offer full details on why Punisher did it, who provided Ellie's voice in streams, and how he managed to pull it all off. But she painted the whole thing as a social experiment gone wrong that ultimately revealed how difficult it is to be a woman in competitive gaming spaces. As of now, Ellie's true identity is still not fully known. Aspen, Punisher, and the Ellie account have not responded to Kotaku's request for comment. So, if you're trying to wrap your head around this, I'm not sure if this was the person who voiced Ellie or if it was Punisher, wanted to prove that the gaming community doesn't believe female gamers are actually female gamers and actually as good as they say they are. So to prove that point in a social experiment, he poses as a female gamer. Defeating the whole purpose of the point you're trying to make and proving the opposite point.
Yeah, women are being targeted for harassment in professional gaming, so I'm going to pose as a woman to prove it. But you're not actually a woman. If anything, and it was proven.
Yeah, you did a lot more damage than help. You hurt way more than you helped. And there's actually a quote in the article that reiterates this from Liz Richardson, managing editor at Overwatch Esports site Overwatch Score, who said, "I am 7,000 levels of livid about this Ellie situation. People involved aside, this stunt will have lasting ramifications for any woman / non-binary person trying to get into contenders. They will all now be subjected to LOL Are You Real harassment," which is exactly what we're trying to say.
Yep. One thing I want to point out quickly is Big Stupid pointing out in the chat that if I didn't work a 12-hour-a-day job near an oil refinery that exploded and lit up the New York City sky, that they might have picked me. First of all, it's no longer 12 hours a day, thankfully, unless they absolutely need me
And
to.
second of all, that was not a oil refinery explosion. It was either aliens visiting us or a beam struggle from Dragon Ball.
Or what it actually was is it wasn't an oil refinery. It was actually a transformer. That's why the light was blue. And the reason
if you're going to be serious about the situation and not just make outlandish, nerdy claims,
the reason he's
trying to have fun.
The reason he pointed that out is because I tweeted about it because I do work with that kind of equipment that blew up because I work at a power plant. Much like that place, and I was just very glad that was not at the power plant I worked at, because that meant I'd probably be still at work right now if that were the case.
But anyway,
I work closer to the stations, to where they play these games and everything in New York City, so whatever.
I just wanted to bring attention to that story because don't do that kind of stuff. Don't be a jerk. Don't be an idiot like that. Seriously. You're only making things harder on women, and also you shouldn't be perpetrating the thing that women gamers aren't good, and therefore they must all be imposters. No, women can game just as well as the men. And you should not assume that they are just doing it for clicks and for likes or having other people play for them. Regardless of the fact that this actually was the exact situation that we don't want to see, that a lot of people claim to be, this is the exception to the rule, and thus why it's getting so much press. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. So support female gamers, because they are awesome.
Now on to the next story, which also involves negative things.
Negative things in streaming. Women. Yeah. So, Mr. Deadmoth. For those of you who don't know him, he was caught on stream. He was getting yelled at by his wife to get off of Fortnite because he was streaming Fortnite. And he was saying, I'll get off. She continued to yell at him, getting louder and louder. Eventually, she got sick and tired of his excuses, threw cardboard at him in his face. He responded by going off screen and reportedly, apparently, from what it sounded like, slapping his wife in front of his kids and telling them to stop and that he'd be right out. She started crying, and then she later came back to yell at him again, and he proceeded to get up and then slap her or strike her multiple times in the background, and you could hear the children crying as she was screaming. If you want to find the footage, I'm sure it exists, but it is not for the faint of heart. It is very kind of traumatizing. And he was eventually arrested for domestic abuse, and he's waiting for a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this happened a month ago. We wouldn't be talking about this anymore, but Twitch, for some reason, unbanned him this week, and he was promoting Let's Be Positive in his return. There were people defending him, saying that his wife was being relentless and abusive to him and was throwing stuff at him. Cardboard is not the same as an open or closed fist to somebody's face. Especially somebody of the opposite sex.
I'll just say,
in front of your own children.
The same response to this as what happened with, God, I don't even remember his name, a football player a while ago, where it was his wife was harassing him.
Ray Rice?
Yeah, and he smacked her up in the elevator.
In the elevator, yeah, Ray Rice.
In which it's, what she did was not necessarily right, but what he did was million times worse.
Absolutely uncalled for, unacceptable.
Yeah. Like, what she's doing wasn't the best thing, and you shouldn't do stuff like that to anyone in general, but what he did, like, is inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, like, it's a million times worse. Yeah.
I feel like I
can't even stand it.
And if this is a bad analogy, call me out on it. I feel like it's almost the equivalent of somebody cutting you off on the highway and, like, after, like, tailgating you for, like, a few miles, and then you respond by just running them off the road and slamming into their car. Or, like, rear-ending them.
Kind of.
I feel like that's kind of an analogy to this.
I don't think it's as bad as what he... because, this is also a, very personal thing and all that, but...
Yeah.
Regardless, he did something completely uncalled for, inexcusable.
Yeah, and I think for his situation, it's worse because it's his wife and it's in front of his kids.
You shouldn't do that
in front of his children.
And you shouldn't do it to anyone under any circumstances, but the way he did it makes it even worse, and I'm getting worked up over this.
Yeah. Basically says the only reason why that instance in this one is getting any kind of attention is because it was on video. Well, domestic abuse shouldn't be tolerated regardless.
Yeah,
of whether or not it's on video.
I think the thing that he's pointing up about is if it was, you hear that he's doing this, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is with, there's actual video evidence of this happening, and you could see it yourself.
I guess.
Which, it's kind of factual. It's getting more attention because it's something that's seen and heard as opposed to something that's rumored about. But
yeah. Anyway, I think Mr. Dead Moth is a garbage person.
Yep.
You never hit your wife, your significant other.
Never hit anyone.
Especially not in front of your children.
Yeah.
If he was to yell at her and scream at her, fine. That's a domestic dispute. It's a fight. She's harassing him. But never, ever raise your hand and strike your significant other.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I want to take from the story, because he was unbanned, but then he was rebanned. Mm-hmm. So the story from Kotaku goes: after being apprehended on December 9th, Monday was charged, which, by the way, Mr. Dead Moth's name is Luke Monday. He was charged with common assault and then given a 4-week court date adjournment to seek legal advice. On December 30th, he apparently decided to use some of that time to resume his streaming career, announcing a return to streaming with the words, "Let's be positive." Streamers and viewers were anything but, as they recalled the December stream during which Monday, and it just mentions what happened. And then it's got some reactions from other streamers responding to his return. Then the story continues. On top of all of that, Monday's return to Twitch netted him a healthy viewer boost, with some presumably there to gawk and others even expressing sympathy. All of the new viewers helped line his pockets as well as Twitch's. That's the article's claim, not mine. Mm-hmm. I would assume that the writer did his research and actually saw that he was getting donations and bit cheers.
Yeah, probably.
Some have argued throughout the week that Monday's partner instigated the physical violence by throwing a piece of cardboard, but others have pointed out that hitting somebody in reaction to that is a seriously questionable escalation. Yes.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. Furthermore, Twitch's rules state that acts and threats of violence are considered, and this is quotes from the Twitch's rules, considered zero tolerance violations, and all accounts associated with such activities will be indefinitely suspended, which is another reason why people have such a big issue with the fact that he got unbanned.
Yeah.
Because the situation, as the article says, the situation should fall under that category, yet Monday didn't get banned.
Yep.
Permaban, they go on to say, permabans on Twitch are rare, even in the case of egregious public offenses. The platform uses a strike system in metering out suspensions and bans, with first-time offenses typically only netting week-long suspensions and subsequent screw-ups leading to additional weeks, up to 1 month. The rules are frustratingly vague and inconsistent when it comes to specific punishments for specific crimes. However, with Twitch moderators seeming to make those calls on a case-by-case behind the scenes, case-by-case basis behind the scenes.
Yeah.
For most of this week, Twitch maintained radio silence on Monday's return, which seemed to infuriate users further. There was a Twitter storm raging, and justly, I figure. Then, earlier today, Monday's channel suddenly blipped out of digital existence again. If you try to access it, you'll now be met with Twitch's usual error message of, quote, sorry, unless you've got a time machine, the content is unavailable. Neither Twitch nor Monday have stated whether he has been permanently banned or if this is just another temporary suspension. Twitch has a policy against discussing the particulars of these things, and Monday has yet to speak publicly since his channel got put in timeout. Nor has he replied to an inquiry from Kotaku. A Twitch spokesperson offered the following statement with regard to the sudden resuspension of Monday's channel. Protecting the integrity of our community is incredibly important to us, they told Kotaku. We want everyone on Twitch to have a safe and positive experience, and we're constantly toward that goal. Part of that work includes examining our policies and practices when we find they don't properly address specific incidents to ensure we're adapting as to the Twitch community grows.
Yeah, so basically, long story short, streamer did very bad thing, got banned, unbanned, people threw a fit, rebanned, apologized.
Justly threw a fit.
I didn't say
and
unjustly.
Twitch apologized.
I'm
I'm adding that
version.
caveat in case anybody wants to, twist that. Justly had a fit.
Yeah.
Justly flipped out, and Twitch apologized, not Monday.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Like I said, we went through the whole thing, and I just did shortened version of that.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear.
Yes.
We, on a shadow of a doubt, we do not condone Mr. Deadmau5's behavior. We condemn it.
I was literally just going to say that.
Yeah.
All right, but let's stop talking about this, Jack.
Yeah. Hopefully, we won't see him again or won't have news from him again, unless it's news about him getting jail time or court stuff, which who knows if we'll even report on that anymore, if he deserves that kind of coverage.
Yep.
The last controversy we want to talk about has to do with actual gaming, not the people who stream games or play games and stuff like that. There is a growing concern surrounding Dragon Ball FighterZ, the highly popular Dragon Ball inspired, obviously, or Dragon Ball fighting game that came out last year from Arc System Works. Over the last few months, it's been getting pulled from fighting game competitions with no explanation whatsoever. A lot of people believe it is behind-the-scenes political things. Some people are blaming Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco has said, no, it's not us. People have claimed, well, maybe it's Toei or the other animation or production company. Toei has said, it's not us. So, and people are starting to wonder because it's been pulled from Evo Japan.
Interesting.
Yeah. And people in the fighting game community are upset. There is worries that it might get pulled from Evo in Vegas. So I just thought it was something to bring up and talk about. I think it's unfortunate. I think it's tragic. I think it's stupid. I think this is what the Dragon Ball community has been wanting for a long time, to have a legitimate fighting game that was the talk of Evo, that had these ridiculous matches. It's a great game. I'm losing my train of thought, trying to maintain my train of thought. But this is just, it's something that was a long time coming, and to see it almost quietly get snuffed out with no reasoning and no explanation to the public is just upsetting.
Yes.
And also the fighting game community, I feel like it's a great addition to the fighting game like community and the pro fighting environment.
Yes.
And brings a lot of eyeballs onto it because Dragon Ball is such a huge franchise.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about it before we move on to the next thing, but I just wanted to bring up the subject, give my quick take, see if you have anything to add.
I mean, not really. I mean, it's a very confusing thing, and we just kind of have to wait and see what comes from it.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to wrap things up with some quick hit gaming news. Quick hit, coming right at you. Ha ha! 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I think I'm doing 2-1, but 1 2. Actually, people swing with their right, so. But I'm a lefty. I don't know. I'm getting tired. Anyways,
just settle down.
Just calm down.
Yeah.
All right. So, Second Dinner is a small developer that was formed by people who used to work at Blizzard, who used to work on Hearthstone. Former Hearthstone people, the former game director Ben Brode, and former executive producer Hamilton Chu. They left Blizzard for Second Dinner, and they announced in a press statement that they are working on a game with Marvel.
Which is very interesting.
So, no other real details aside, but it's interesting the former Blizzard employees are working on a Marvel game as I try to bring the story back up and bring it to the right side of the screen if my computer wants to cooperate. I think it's really cool. I mean, you can speculate. Considering they both worked on Hearthstone, I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of like video game that's actually a card game.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah, in which case I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I really like Hearthstone. Hearthstone, it was very... HeroClix? Oh. But Hearthstone was very similar to Magic, and I really like Magic, so I really got into Hearthstone, so I would love to see a Marvel game that's like a online virtual card game.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Along the lines of Hearthstone. So that'd be cool.
Yep.
Other stuff I just want to touch on. Anthem. The free pre-order demo schedules have been set. The Anthem VIP demo will go live on Friday, January 25th, before servers shut down on Sunday, January 27th. And then the free demo for everyone starts Friday, February 1st, and goes until February 3rd. So if you're looking forward to Anthem, the big game by EA and BioWare, the MMO, the apparent next thing to try and fill that Destiny kind of space, Friday the 25th to January the 27th, if you have the pre-order, and February 1st to 3rd if you did not pre-order.
Get a chance to finally see what it's all about.
Yes. And then From Software, the makers of the Souls games, of Dark Souls, the president, Hidetaka Miyazaki, revealed that the company is working on 2 announced titles. No other further details really aside from that, but his quote said, this is coming from Jamatsu, and they translated this from the Japanese site 4gamer.net. Miyazaki said, while it isn't the time to discuss details, they're both From Software-esque games. We'll need a little more time, but we'll be able to tell everyone more about them once they take shape.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. Do you think they're gonna any speculations on what you think they're gonna do?
A spin-off of Dark Souls called You Only Die, and it's just a game where no matter what you do, you die.
Just die.
Yep.
Okay, I like that.
And there's still gonna be some a-hole that figures out how to play the game and not die while using a Guitar Hero controller as a controller.
Yep. I think you've nailed it.
Yep.
And then another piece of news, Atlas launched just before Christmas, had some technical difficulties with servers. Some streamers were not too happy with it. It's gained some criticism. Atlas has since made some patches to try and repair that and issued a statement. So I just want to read that statement. They said, you could say that we're off to a stormy start. The initial influx of players wanting to set sail immediately was predictably, in hindsight, larger than we anticipated, and our systems got crushed until we tuned our technical systems to handle it. We have been incredibly humbled and excited by the number of seafaring pathfinders wanting to dive into Atlas. Since the launch, the team have heavily prioritized connection and capacity resolution, server and client-side performance updates, server-side, client and client-side crash fixes, as well as tackling general gameplay bugs and balance options. We're going to continue to iterate at a very rapid rate. You can generally expect daily deployments and updates of both servers and clients, and sometimes even multiple if we feel like change is significant enough to warrant it. We truly appreciate everyone's patience and support during this launch period, and we intend to show gratitude through frequent updates that resolve the issues which matter to you and improve Atlas in both the near term and the long term. And then they say some other stuff, but I think that is pretty much the gist.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, technically, they didn't expect it to be this huge, and that the basically their advertisement for the Game Awards put more eyeballs and got more people interested than they anticipated. Honestly, I'm not that surprised that Atlas is kind of like buggy and glitchy to start off, because these are from the makers of Arc, and Arc has been known to be a little buggy and whatnot. So from what I've been hearing, from what I've actually heard, is that with glitches aside, that Atlas is a fun game. Yeah. So it might be something I want to try out in the beginning. Big Stupid saying what a fail that game has been so far, mostly because of all the technical issues and because of the fact that a lot of streamers apparently haven't been digging it. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm an optimist. I like to see games succeed, so I'm hoping
the game is half full.
I'm hoping that once they get these things sorted out, that it'll be fine. And we've seen time and time again, just because a game launches poorly doesn't mean it's forever doomed. Yep. Look at Rainbow Six Siege, look at The Division, look at No Man's Sky.
Yep. Exactly, especially No Man's Sky.
Yeah. And then the final thing I want to do is just add in a little thing about Fortnite. Fortnite's latest update included a boombox, which is a consumable item that you can then shuck at people's buildings, and every single sound wave destroys buildings.
Nice.
Things that people built.
Yep.
So that'll definitely throw a new wrinkle into things, and maybe that might actually discourage people from building so much, or force people to have to build more quickly on their feet when crap goes sideways when a boombox is thrown in there. Who knows if it'll cause some complaints and if it'll get taken out quickly, but I thought it was an interesting thing to just throw in there and add.
Yeah.
And with that said,
that brings us to an end.
That will pretty much do it for episode 73 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. Just got to do some housekeeping to let you guys know where you can find us. You can go on Twitch every single week at twitch.tv. Well, every time we stream, which is almost every single week.
I mean, you could go there every week. There's video on demand.
Yeah, video on demand of gameplay and previous episodes at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can, like we said, watch it on demand on twitch.tv/L_Murpho, or you can head to YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal and watch the episodes there. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe over there, follow on Twitch. You can also listen to us in audio form on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. Lots of places where you can find podcasts. Just search Super Grapple Bros.
Rate, review, and subscribe.
There you go. It's been a couple weeks. That's normally your thing. I normally say that, and then you'll pop in with that line.
Well, I'm getting something set up, so sorry.
Okay. But yeah, once you do that, once we get enough ratings and reviews, we'll be officially rated podcast on Apple Podcasts, and more people will be able to find us and join in the conversations. So do the thing. Help us out. We really appreciate it. You can also join the Discord server, which you can get via the Discord command in the Twitch chat. You can find it on the Twitch main page. You can find it in the video description on YouTube. You can also find it in the show notes in the audio version. Join that. We have 2 Super Grapple Bros channels within the server for you. One is general feedback, comments, questions, all that kind of stuff. Trivia, if you want to do trivia. And then another one is the viewer predictions, which I also have to say before we leave, because we forgot to do it when we touched on TLC. Congratulations to Big Stupid. He tied us. We tied 888 in the predictions for TLC. Nobody gave predictions for Wrestle Kingdom. That's also because I didn't get to submit our predictions, which were just for fun anyway, until 11 o'clock when the show started at 2 in the morning. So totally fair. Apologies that got in so late. But if you jump in to that part of the Discord server, you can give in your predictions as well. And if you tie or beat us, or if you're the best person out of all the viewers who predict, you get a shout out.
Yep.
On the review, on the following episode. And with all that said, the last thing is you can also find out when we go live on Discord, because we have an announcements channel that lets you know whenever we go live. You can also find out when we go live on Twitter as well. I am at L_Murpho.
DMurph_42.
And with all of that taken care of, we will send you out with the Kayfabe News headline of the episode.
I've got 3.
3 to make up for the 2 weeks we've lost?
Yes, and partially because of the fact that 2 of them are very quick.
Okay.
First one. Lesnar makes New Year's resolution to take more time off of work. Second,
I mean, he is a little overworked. He works a lot of dates. He's got to take those planes. He's got to. He's not able to go ahead and. He misses his precious time German suplexing his cows all over his ranch.
Exactly. In Canada, eh? Second
Minnesota,
one.
I think.
Well, he got another farm in Canada.
Oh, damn.
Yep. The second one, Kurt Hawkins, so far undefeated all year.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. That is true. He has not had a match
he
yet.
Lost at a house show. But anyway, the main one. Flat Earthers demand WWE fix misleading Intercontinental title belt.
Well, I mean, it is kind of flat, but I mean...
It's still round.
Yeah.
Flip Gordon.
Is he a flat earther?
Yes, he is.
Oh, God, I just lost respect for Flip Gordon.
At the very least, they've called him out for it on, ROH and stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for episode 73 of the Super Grab Bros podcast. Thank you all so much for joining. Until we see you next time. Peace, deuces. Deuces.
Bye.
Catch y'all later. But bye now.
Shut up and sit down.